How you doing, guys? This is Eric from RuleTheWasteland.com and SecretOfTheInternet.com. This video is going to be my explanation of how I think it's going to shake out, or how one way it could shake out at least, for Trump's path to the White House, particularly with the Electoral College, electoral votes. Now, there's been a lot of people who are talking now saying that the polls show that they're close, or that Hillary's ahead, or she's been ahead. These are the same people that have been saying that Trump wasn't even going to get the nomination. And back when they were saying that, I was busy putting my money where my mouth is, betting on him to get the nomination. And in doing so, I won well over $1,000 making that bet, and I stand to win more if when he wins the election. And this is my explanation of why I think it's not only does he have a good chance of winning the presidential election, I think he's going to win, and he's going to win in a big way. And if you don't think it's possible, you don't see how it's possible, this is just one explanation of why it's not nearly as far-fetched as you may think. So I have this Electoral College map here. This is from 2012. And as you can see, Obama beat Romney pretty handily in 2012. Pretty big margin of votes and a big margin of electoral votes, popular vote and electoral vote. Now, the interesting thing about this is that because there was no real excitement about Romney, nobody was really stoked about him. And anyone who was voting for him, most of them were just voting because they're going to vote Republican no matter what, or they're voting against Obama, things like that. He didn't have that groundswell of popular support that someone like Trump does, or that even Obama had, and even after his first term. So it's pretty safe to say that all of these states that Romney got, he got just because they are pretty red. They're mostly red states. And it's absurd to think that Trump won't get all those same states. Now, I don't know of any state on here that has any reason to go for Hillary this time that went for Romney last time. Like, people say things like Georgia or North Carolina because of the minority populations, but like, that's just absurd. They're taking these polls in areas like Atlanta and things like that. And it's interesting to note that as much hubbub or hubbu or whatever you want to call it that's made over minorities and how much they're supposed to hate Trump, he polls much better in almost, I think, every minority group than Romney did. He's like doubling the black vote that Romney got. So I don't see how you can say that Trump's going to do worse in an area that went red in 2012 because of the minorities, when he's doing way better with them than Romney did. So I think it's a very safe assumption. It's my working assumption. I think Ann Coulter also said this, that Trump will get all the same states that Romney did. He's not only going to get those states, but he will definitely get those states. So when you look at the picture here, these are all the states that Romney got. You got Arizona, Utah, Idaho, Montana, Wyoming, the Dakotas, Nebraska, Kansas, all this stuff, Texas. All the normal ones. He did get Georgia. He did get North Carolina. He got Indiana, Kentucky, West Virginia. He did not get Florida. He did not get Ohio, Pennsylvania, Virginia, or any of like Minnesota, Wisconsin, Michigan, any of that. And he lost by something like 126 electoral votes. But he doesn't have to make up all those. Romney would have only had to get an additional 64 electoral votes to win, because any that he gets are obviously taken away. It's a zero-sum game. So if you win 30 points, it's actually a 60-point swing. So if you get 64 points, it's a 128-point swing. So that would push him over the 270. So if we're assuming that it's a safe assumption to say that he's going to get all the same ones that Romney got, that puts him at 206 right there. So he only needs 64 more electoral votes to come out, to edge out a victory, which I think he'll do more than that, but that's all he needs. So let's look at this. I certainly think he's going to get Florida. He even ousted Rubio in Florida, which is, it's a Republican primary, but it's still meaningful. He got huge numbers there. He's polling well here. I think he's going to get Florida. And let's say he gets Florida. That's 29 right there. So already he's getting close. He's at 29 electoral votes out of 64 needed. I think he's going to get Pennsylvania. He's doing super well in Pennsylvania. And I've read some stuff indicating that Hillary's even internal polling, that she stopped doing a lot of little events there or commercials there or whatever. They've almost conceded Pennsylvania to Trump. I think he's going to get that with the 20. So now he's at 49. If he just gets those 2 states, in addition to the ones that Romney got, that's already 49 of the 64. So he just needs, 15 more, right? Yeah, 15 more. So now you're saying all he needs is 15 votes. Well, he picks up Ohio. That gives it to him. If he picks up, Minnesota, Wisconsin, well, obviously Michigan gives it to him. If he picks up either, so he only has to get Ohio or Michigan to get it outright. Or if he picks up any 2 other states, pretty much, that are likely. So if he picks up like New Mexico and then one of the northern states here, like Minnesota or Wisconsin, if he picks up Virginia and then any other state. So it's really not that absurd. If he gets, a couple, maybe one random one over here, and I don't think he'll get any New England states. I don't think he'll get D.C., pretty much any, except I do think he'll get New Hampshire. He's doing really well there. So New Hampshire and then most of these other states. If he got New Hampshire and a 10-pointer, obviously that's not going to put him over. But the point is, I don't think there's almost any state here that's not in play for him, other than maybe D.C. and a bunch of the small New England states and Hawaii and stuff like that. I don't think he's going to win, but I think states like New York and California are even in play in terms of this election. I think there's that big of a disparity. I think the polls are borderline rigged. I don't necessarily think they're outright fraudulent in terms of that the numbers they're getting are fake, but I think they're heavily, heavily massaged. And you can even see that in the data that they report, because, like I said, they issue the poll data. It'll show that something like 600 Democrats were polled and 300 Republicans, and then it'll show Hillary with a 5-point lead, and it's like, give me a fucking break. So, or they'll do Georgia poll, and they'll poll only in Atlanta, things like that, where it's like, okay, it's not a lie. That is the data that you collected, but it's highly deceptive, highly massaged to show a certain outcome. We've even seen the polls. I think Bill Still and others have reported on this, where they choose, whether to include other third-party candidates and the ways they ask the question, just to whatever they can tweak it to show Hillary as leading in the polls. And that still doesn't account for the fact that, with the way people are attacked for supporting Trump, that they they just don't want to be honest about it most of the time. It's just easier to be like, I don't know who I'm voting for, or to lie about it than it is to get lambasted by some crazy and possibly physically attacked. That Scott Adams endorsed Hillary for his own safety, even though he thinks Trump's going to win. And if you check pretty much every other metric of support, any social media, views, followers, all this presence at rallies, all that stuff, he's just crushing her. And none of that is a guarantee, but the polls aren't guaranteed either. So I want to look at the totality of evidence that leads you to make a decision here. And that's what led me to make the decision that he was going to win the primary when, as early as August and of the year before. So August and September. And I won money on that one. Other people were saying it was a hilarious joke. And now those same people are saying, certain things, and we're supposed to believe them. Give me a break. And so that's my thoughts on this. And if you guys have any, belief that Trump isn't at least going to get all the states that Romney did, I'd like to see some sort of concrete reason why that's the case. And don't make it because of some bullshit polls. Tell me why, and if it is because of a poll, show me the poll and explain to me how you think that is a meaningful poll, how it actually is treating the data correctly. And if that's really what you think, let me know. But this is what I think. I think it's going to be a landslide. I think it'll look a lot closer to the 1984 electoral map than it will to the 2012 electoral map. Let's just put it that way. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll talk to you later.